Today we're going to create this simple app using React, but this is very basic because last time what happened, like we used to connect to Firebase, but it basically takes a lot of time. Within 3 hours, we couldn't able to complete that because there is a lot of advanced topic. We already posted the Firebase video in YouTube, so you just go and watch. But in this video, I'm just going to cover all the things about the React, the basic, not only the basics. So how the React basically works, how these components and kind of JSX everything gonna work. So I'm going to give you the idea how you should want to structure the code and how you want to think kind of a logical way of thing. This is gonna be very simple app, but in this app you're going to learn a lot of things. Okay, so if you guys have, so please confirm that how many of you are beginners here, or is there any experienced person here or like that? Yeah, okay. Shahid, okay, that's cool. Okay, we'll start. First step, to start the React application, we need a node. Okay, so the node is a dependency of React. So in your machine, you just want to install the Node.js basically. Okay, so the node help us is a runtime environment. In this runtime environment, they build a React modules and all. Okay, so here only we're going to get all the modules. So modules is basically a package. So if you need some code as like a library or as a module, we can pick from there. Okay, so that we need a Node.js. I already installed in that in my machine. So basically you should want to recommend for the most user, you just go and download this. If you are a Windows user, okay, then or Mac user, go and choose whether what you are using. So type cmd here. Okay, cmd, it will open up the command prompt. Here just type node/v -v. So what it will do, it will basically return the version of node. If you get this properly, then this is going to like it is going to say like it is now available in our machine. If that is return any error, your node is not installed properly, so that you should want to try again. Okay, so first just check whether you installed a node or not in your machine locally. Then I'm gonna use a VS Code to do a code. So this is the Visual Studio Code. This is where the place we're gonna write a code. Okay, so I want to know that people, how many of you know the JavaScript and HTML CSS here? Because some people are doing some mistake, like they don't even know proper about the HTML CSS and JavaScript. They're jumping directly to the React, so that people are struggling a lot from there. So that I want to confirm that, please let me know how many of you are, how many of you people are not know about the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So this is the basic advantage. This is the basic skill you required to start a React. Okay, so that's what I'm asking you. If that is, I can change this path, like the teaching path. That's why I'm asking you. So just you can put a chat also. So how many guys don't know about the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript? Because in React, so React is basically a JavaScript library. Okay, so just put some message or whatever. It is enough to make this session a good path. So that's why I'm asking. Okay, so let's start. I think I didn't get any answer. Okay, we'll start. So the first step, what is React? So I'm not a person who showed a lot of PDF. I'm going to explain like that only. I'm basically I'm a practical way of teacher. So I'm gonna show you everything in a practical way. So the most of the institute are doing kind of, they have a lot of PDF and going to explain the PDF. They didn't get you to the real world problems and all the real world projects. So that is not a good idea to how you can learn a code, because when I start my career, I know what the problem I had in my life. I get into one institute, they basically show some PDF. They just copied the PDF to teach me. So that is not a proper way of teaching. So that I'm just going to avoid, even if you try, even if you come and join my classes. So here everything is going to be a practical way. So like we're going to work on a pure app, like a functional based component. I don't know how many of you know about the functional component and the functional programming, like functional paradigm, like the concepts and all. But here I'm a teacher of how the under the hood JavaScript is basically working. The first step, if you like, you should, why I'm explaining this, because a lot of people are actually jumping directly to the React without knowing any JavaScript. So if you want to start a React application to build some good project for your future, or some product for your own. Yeah, it is recording. It is recording. At the end, I can post this record in the YouTube, or they'll just share you the link, okay, through the WhatsApp. So don't worry about that. Abu, yeah. Okay, now, so basically, so I don't know how many of you heard about the execution context and lexical environment, and like there is a lot of concept. Okay, so we should want to know. So basically, the people are here, like they don't even know how the JavaScript Chrome engine is working, right? So just ask yourself, how many of you know how JavaScript engine is basically works? So basically here the web, you are a web developer, you are going to become a web developer. So you are, a lot of people are coding in a React or in a web for a web. But if you go and ask them how JavaScript engine works, so they didn't know. Literally, I'm saying they didn't know. So that is a bad thing of how the web developer is working on nowadays. So a thinking logic is secondary, but the first step I'm focusing on how the JavaScript language is purely working. Okay, so if you understand it properly, you cannot going to struggle to build some project, because a lot of people say the JavaScript is a weird language. Why they are saying? Because they don't understand it properly. There is a lot of weird concept in JavaScript, but if you understand the proper way, then you're gonna build a massive project. Okay, so that is one of the biggest thing in JavaScript. So in JavaScript we have a lot of advantage. Basically, if you learn a JavaScript properly, you can go ahead with a front-end developer or a back-end developer. So if you combine that, you will become a full stack developer. If not, you can go to the mobile app development. If that is also not, you can go to a machine learning. If that is also not, you can go to artificial intelligence. There is a lot of way to work on with JavaScript. This is one of the most beautiful language in the world. Seriously, I'm saying I've been worked with a lot of developer and also a lot of complicated projects and all in my career. I know why the JavaScript is basically now purely good language, means because of the functional programming. In React we cannot going to sorry for that, I'm not going to, I'm just talking to you. So soon I'm going to make it, everything is a practical here, but I just want to give you some introduction of the JavaScript language, because people are coming here like we're gonna learn a React. So that is true, we're going to learn a React, but if you don't understand the JavaScript, you cannot able to become a React developer, or you cannot able to become a front-end developer. That is one of the main mistake what the people are doing now. So that's why I'm explaining a lot about JavaScript. Once I will complete, I will just get into the code. Okay, so I don't know how many people are going to join this session after, once we completed this session, going to attend my course. But if you want to become a good Java, React or front-end developer, or a back-end developer using a Node.js or anything, so you should want to learn a JavaScript. Because why I'm saying this beginning, because a lot of people is not going to stay in this, okay, for until the session is going to complete. That's why I'm just giving you some idea. If you get out from this room also, this word is going to help you. That's why I'm explaining you this. If you want to become a front end or back end or a full stack, you just concentrate on the JavaScript. So if you understand truly the JavaScript, so you can build your own React library also. Okay, so the thing is, now we're going to create this simple app. Okay, so this is add to do, and I'm going to have some input here, whatever we type here. So when we add, so it is going to add here, and also I'm going to use a checkbox. So then clear. So it is going to, it's a very simple app, but you're going to learn a lot of concept here. So and also like install this VS Code in a local machine, and also Node.js as a runtime environment. So now we're going to create a React application first. So what I do, so you go and basically you just go to any C disk or whatever the disk you are wishing. So go and create some empty, like empty folder here. Okay, I'm just going to give a name. Wait 1 minute. Can make it some medium or large. Okay, so I created the new folder here. Then folder name I'm going to give call to do list. Okay, this is the app name what I'm going to work on. I'll just right click, I just get into this folder. I'm going to click here. So I want to give a backspace and CMD. There's a lot of way to create a React application. So first step, we need a React base code to start a React framework, right? So I want to give some command. The command is npx create react app dot slash. Okay, what this command is going to do, basically it's going to download or fetch all the files what React required and put inside into the empty folder. Okay, so when I hit enter, it is going to take some few minutes. Okay, we'll wait for that. So in that few minutes, if you have any doubts or kind of things, you can explain me, I will help you out that. So because you can ask me questions, no problem about that. We'll talk for a while. Is that my voice is clear for everyone? Yeah, you go and check the Chrome browser, like basically download for Windows. If you go to the downloads, you can see a lot of installation for the Linux and Ubuntu that you can find here. Okay, so you can go and download that things. Okay, so yeah, actually it is good only, right? So I don't know, so is everyone is hearing properly? Is everyone is having this issue? My voice is clear or not?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, okay, I think you are. Yeah, because I'm using a mic only, so my voice is clear, I hope. So yeah, so if you have any doubt, you can ask me that. Before we get enter into the project, so it's going to install all the required files and folders for us. So just let me know that how many people are here as a beginner, or how many people are struggling here, because I'll just give you the idea how to become a coding. Okay, how do you can code a proper way. So that's why I'm asking you. So even if you're not attending my course after we finish, so that's these my words are going to help you in the future. That's why I'm asking you. So we don't want to waste time, because it's gonna take some few minutes to install. That's why. Okay, yeah, you can do that. You can do the same command, react file, it will download. Yeah. So here I'm a beginner here, what should I do right now? So basically, if you're not getting into like if you're coming directly to the React, first learn HTML, CSS properly, then jump to the JavaScript. First try to create a styling and the layout. Okay, then jump into the JavaScript. So the JavaScript is like, how do I say, if your guys are not know about some words I'm gonna tell you, that please note that word. Okay, if you're working on JavaScript, try to learn execution context. Okay, the execution context, what basically do, it is going to help us to know how the function is basically going to run. Okay, in function we have a two phase, one is for a creation phase and another one for the execution phase. Okay, so the creation phase is what you intentionally put inside the function body that is going to execute as the output, right? You are going to create the function because you are a human, you're going to think a logic to solve some problem. So how the creation phase is going to work is everything is going to, like, you only going to create all the execution, how the creation phase is gonna work. So if you run that function, that creation is gonna run the execution because you created that. So this is one of the most important topic. Then lexical environment. So the lexical environment is what physically you return the code inside the function body. So that is another logic. Then you should want to learn a closure. So if you don't know what is closure, closure is basically the inner function can access the outside of the function scope. So please note these words, because when I get into one big company, they ask you these questions only. Most JavaScript developer, most JavaScript the interviewer will ask you like these questions only the I don't think like they will ask you execution context and all, because that is very core concept. They will surely ask you how the JavaScript, why in JavaScript everything is an object, because the creator of the JavaScript created like this way. Even function is an object in JavaScript. I don't know how many of you people or know like this concept. That is very basic thing. Okay, this is very one of the basic thing. This is a special type of function in a JavaScript. So you should want to learn all these concepts to become a good React developer. So why I'm focusing a lot on JavaScript here, when I start my React career, everyone is gonna tell me like learn React. Afterwards I got a lot of struggle. I don't know how these like lot of concepts are basically working. Then I realized, oh, I didn't learn a JavaScript properly. Then I jump back to the JavaScript, I learned properly JavaScript. Then I come to know that everything is fine, because the JavaScript is only the way we should want to learn. is JavaScript also follow OOPS concept? Yeah, in JavaScript, basically we have two things. One is the ES5 and another one is the ES6. They both are the ES5. You're going to create the object using a function constructor. You're going to create a function as a constructor, and you're going to make a new instance of the function. Okay, that is the ES5 concept. But in ES6, they introduce a syntactic sugar. The syntactic sugar meaning, if you don't know, if you not heard about these words, please note these words and go and research about this later. Okay, syntactic sugar, that word mean everything is gonna work like a same how the ES5 basically works, but they change little bit about the syntax. Okay, the syntax is gonna be vary. They also give some class keywords, and also there is a lot in ES6. So learn syntax sugar, okay, because that is one of the important concept. Here we have the hoops concept, but the hoops concept is going to work in a different way of comparing to the another language, because it is purely prototype. This is one of the most powerful thing. And also the second most powerful thing is the JavaScript is a first class function. You can do whatever you are doing with the types. The types, already. I don't know what like what is types. There is a number or boolean or whatever. You can store that in a variable, right? So you in JavaScript, basically you can store the function in a variable. This is one of the most amazing thing we have in a JavaScript. Okay, not every programming language is going to have. That's why that is the one of the reason why JavaScript is more popular now in the world, because that is a first class function and functional paradigm. So please note these words. So data types, what is data types? We have two data types in JavaScript. That in data types, we have primitives and reference. So primitive data types is going to return a single value. It's called a string or number or boolean or null or undefined. So basically the 5 is the most important thing. We gonna look in a application everywhere. And also we have two more. One is a big int and symbols, but I didn't use the big int and symbols in any other project. But the most 5 important thing is string, number, boolean, null, and undefined. The reference types is basically everything is an object. So going to be a collections of set or collections of value, like a name value, pos or key value. Well, the people will say some different words with that. So primitive types is going to return a single value, and reference types is going to be an object going to have a collection of data types. For example, array. So the array going to include a lot of things. So what's React and why it is used for? Okay, so what is React? So basically, if you compare the traditional application, okay. uh I will show you what is the difference between the traditional page of application and the single page of application. Okay, so you see, basically, I think I didn't get that. So this is an image, right? So you see, single page application works differently. Basically, this is a traditional web page lifecycle. This is a single page application. So basically, you see, this is your browser. The client is a browser. Okay, you initializing some GET request to get some data from the server. So it is going to hit the server, and the server is going to give some response back to the client side. Then only you can show the data to the user, right? So now this initial request going to hit the server. This server hit with a status of 200. It is going to return some data to the client. In the client, we're going to view all the data what we get from the server. Okay, basically, whenever you navigate this to one page to another, or if you're not using any Ajax here, this page is going to reload. Okay, it is not an efficient way to make a good like a good project, right? So you see, but in a single page application, it is going to request an initial GET request, and it is going to send back as a Ajax. You see, Ajax or JSON, whatever it is. So you send the Ajax, and the return data is going to be in JSON. So what the JSON basically do, basically the Ajaxes do. Ajax is a asynchronous JavaScript AXML. So this is the definition of Ajax. So the JSON, you're going to get a JSON as a data. The pages should not reload. Okay, why? Because in React, the page is going to inject inside to the one single file that is called the index.html, the root file. I'm going to show the file now. Okay, so now the file is now downloaded here. So I'm just going to drag and drop, or just pull that file into my VS Code. I just click this file. I want to click the open folder. Then you should want to navigate where you created the folder, like the to-do list. Okay, so I'm just going to create this, click this, and I've opened here. I selected the folder. So now it takes the with the code here. my laptop is now very slow because from night I'm working on some project. That's what it is, like little hanging. So just give me 2 minutes, like it will be all right. No, okay, now we got the code. You see, we created the to-do list as an empty folder and we run some command. The command is, you see, again, I'm showing the command. The command is basically npx create react app dot slash. Okay, the dot slash is basically what it's mean. It is saying that put all the code inside the empty folder. That is what it means. Okay, dot slash. Now, you see, we have some, there is a lot of folders and the files here. Okay, so first step, you see, this is the node modules. This is what I said, you should need a node runtime. Okay, because we are going to use some of the modules. Now in this project, we're going to use one modules to install, and we're going to use for the to create an ID generation. And we have a public folder. These are, if you're not having this node modules, this React is not going to work, because the React is also sitting inside this node module. Okay, that's why React required the node and the npm. So the npm is a node package manager. So this is basically the initial. Then we have the public folder. So you see, in the public folder, we have only one HTML, index.html. We can create a lot of component and lot of pages, but this page is not going to reload, because they basically going to inject each and every page inside to this one single file, one single ID. This div is called as root. What the root is going to do, you see, if you how many of you, I don't know how many people are know HTML, because I know that a lot of people are getting as a beginner here. No worries, I'm just going to explain everything. So HTML, what is HTML? HTML is a hypertext markup language. It is not a programming language, because whatever you put inside to this HTML, it is going to show in a web browser. So that is what the HTML, right? We are not going to use any logic to create some kind of function like programming languages. So in programming, we're gonna have a lot of logic, but here we cannot able to add a logic, okay, in a HTML. So this is a single HTML page. So we have a doc type. We are just mentioning that this document is for only for HTML, and we have the parent HTML. This parent HTML going to contain two child. One is head and the body. The head is going to take the information. That's what we have, meta character. So we don't, you don't need to understand all these things. This is a base code, okay. Then meta viewport, and there is a meta description and links and all. We're going to clean up all these things. We don't need these things to work React. In the body, so in the body, whatever thing you put inside the body, it is going to output in a browser, okay. So this is how these things are working. So basically, now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to run this React application. To run the React application, what you should want to do, basically you should want to give npm start. If we hit that start, it is also going to take 1 or 2 minutes. So I'm sorry about that. Basically, you should want to wait for that, because if you're working a big project, if you're creating some file structure, it should really, I'm saying it should take the file structure to create takes 1 or 2 days. Seriously, if you're working on new project, if the project is very big. But here we are not going to do any big, but we're going to understand all the things about the React. Okay, I'm just going to cover all these things within the time what we have now. So I hope like you're gonna, I'm sorry for asking again, but what I'm supposed to download again? What you gonna download, brother? This video or what? Javed, so you can, are you gonna do any practical work today? Yeah, I'm just going to do any, yeah, everything is practical, because before the introduction, because I want to give some JavaScript introduction. That's why I take some time to introduce how the JavaScript basically works. So now everything is gonna be practical. We're going to create the project. I showed you, no? So this is the project we're going to create today. So we have the to-do list, and this, whatever we are typing here, when we add, it is going to load here. We're going to use a component. We're going to clear this out. There is a lot of things to learn here, and there is a few things to learn to grab the React concept. So I'm going to show this today now. And also we're going to learn the state, how the global state. I'm not going to use any context API to do these things, because this is a very simple app. But you should want to understand how the state and use ref and use effects is working. So if you understand that properly, then you can jump into the context API and learn a lot of things like Redux, and there is to manage the global state. but now I'm just going to focus on the step, only the React. Okay. So now you see this application is running on my browser, you see, because of the command what I gave, that npm start. Okay. So now it is running here. Why? You see, in the index.html, like, I mean, I'm coming back to the index.html, you see, to the VS Code, you need to enable the JavaScript to run this app. Okay. So basically, wait 1 minute. Yeah, you see, now we have the root ID. The root is the ID is root. Okay. This is just an empty div where this root is basically called. That is the second question what in we should want to think about it. So if I open the source, in the source we have a lot of files here. You see, app.css, app.js, app.test, app.cs, index.css, js, logo.svg. We don't need this file and all, but I'm just going to explain you. Like, if I get into the index.js, this is the root page of this source app. Okay, index.js. In this public file, index.html is the root page. So in the index.js, they are basically what they are doing. Const root, React DOM, create root, document.get element by ID. Why they are using document.get element by ID means because they used to put ID here. So they basically calling the ID in a DOM. So this is gonna be root. Why this is root? Because they call the name is root here. So in that root, what they are doing, they are rendering the app. Who is app? App is the component. If I come back here, I can see the app function here. Component is just a function. That function is going to return something. What this function is returning? Edit, code, source, app, and save and reload. And we have some link and learn React. So if I come back, the same thing what I'm going to get here in a browser. You see, edit source, app.js, and save to reload. So now I'm just going to make changes here. Learn React today. If I save this file, now here is also going to update because this component got injected into this index.js. This index.js inject to this HTML. So this is how the React is basically works. So whatever we are going to give in a component, that is going to reflect in a web browser. I'm just going to take all these commands and all. We don't need this command because this is very, maybe like it's gonna be very confusing. So I'm just going to take all this and I'm just going to like the React app. Okay, so the React app is going to show here. This is the title of our application. I'm just going to change to do app. To do app. When I save this file, now here also it got changed to do app. This is the title. Okay, we don't need any description because we are not going to use any SEO or like the things. So I'm just going to remove all these things. So now here in the source, I'm just going to delete some of the things. We are not going to work in the test. Okay, we don't need the test because then I'm just going to remove this index.css also. I'm going to use a bootstrap to make some good styling. I'm not going to create any own styling and all. I'm going to use a bootstrap. Then I don't need the logo.svg, and I don't need this one, and I don't need this one. I don't need this app.css and all. In the app.js, I'm just going to return null. The null is empty. I'm gonna remove this and also removing this. In the index.html, I'm just going to remove this one. The index.css, I don't need this one. I'm just clearing up some unwanted things from the for our application. So when I clear this out, now this application is returned nothing, blank, because we return a null. So what if I return hello here? What I'm going to get? This app is now returning hello. This is going to return here. So whatever this app component is returning, that is going to reflect in your browser. So this is how the React is basically works. So do you have any doubt in this? So if you have any doubt, you can ask me now. So far what we did. So if you have any doubt, you can ask me. Is everything all right? Okay, I'm still unclear with React function here. Okay, so React, this is not a function, this is a component. Okay, basically you see this is a file, new file. Okay, this is a new file. I'm just going to give you the idea. We are going to create a new component. Okay, I'm just explaining how the React is basically works. So you see, we have, ignore these files and all. We don't need these files. Okay, ignore these files. We just need a two files. One is public and another one is a source. So this is now a public and this is a private. Okay, so here whatever you are going to put here, it is going to return inside to this public. Okay, the node module we need as a runtime environment because the React is sitting inside the node module folder. That's why we are calling that's what the React is now working. Now when I open the public folder here, we have only one file. You see, these are the image file. Don't take this one. These we don't need this image file. Okay, I'm just click inside to this index.html. In the index, what they basically do, you see, they have only a div element. So the div element takes the ID of root. Why they are giving the root? So I already told you, HTML is going to return what you are gonna put inside to the HTML. So here, this is an empty div. It's called root. I'm coming back to the source. So inside the source, we have index.js, only two files. I clear up all these things to make, we don't need to confuse, right? So we have only two files. One is app.js and another one is index.js. So this is the root file of this. Root file means this is home page, home file of the source folder. So if I open the index.js, we can see something. You see, they imported the app. Okay, you see, note this one, imported the app component here. So here they're creating the root equal to React DOM create root document.get element by ID. What they are getting from here, the root. Who is the root? The empty div. So here they're basically giving the root. Now root.render basically returns something. Okay, this is this render returns something. What it is returning, don't worry about this React strict mode. These are the unwanted things, we don't need this. Okay, just the app. So who is the app? We basically import the app here. I'm coming back to the app.js file here. When I click, I have a function. This function is basically returning in hello. This hello is exporting here. I can import that into my index.js so that now the app got added here. So where is the app is sitting? This app is sitting inside the index.html because we used to put in a root. Okay, that's why this is now showing here. The hello is showing here. Now clear? Now clear, Amir Khan? Yeah, okay. So now the first step for the application, you see, we have a look the UI here. So we have a heading and we have a input and we have a button and we have some list of components here. The list. Okay, I'm just going to make this as a component and also the input. Okay, so now coming back here. So what I'm gonna do basically in the source folder, I'm going to create a component folder here. I always do like this way. To make some separated component, I usually put some the folder to separate my component and everything, but not all people are gonna do like that way. They will directly put here, but I always make everything is clear. Okay, in the app.js, I'm going to create some UI. Okay, so now you see this app, whatever you're going to return, it is going to return the output in a browser. Okay, so now I'm just going to return the UI here. The UI basically here, instead of string, this is a string. I don't know how many people know this is a string. Okay, so you should want to give that because now this JavaScript file can return the HTML as well as the JavaScript logic. So this is called JSX. Okay, JSX. This is called a JSX in a React. So it can return, this function can return HTML and also a JavaScript. The logic we can put inside to this function. So now first step, I'm just going to return something here. I'm going to give a div here. Div. Inside the div, I'm going to put h3. The class name, you see, if you're working with in a HTML, you usually put class, right? So here in React, everything is gonna be different. You should want to mention it as a class name. Okay, class name. Here, for now, we don't need a class name. First, we'll create some simple UI. So add task, add to do. I just gave an add to do here. Afterwards, I'm just going to give an input here. So the input takes a type. Okay, the type is text here. So the type is text. The input is basically you are going to type in a form like that. Okay, then I'm going to give a button. This button is going to take a value of add to do. Then another button is going to take a value of clear. Okay, now at last what I'm going to do, basically here I'm just going to render my component. I'll just put comp here. Afterwards, we render that. Here, I'm just going to put h5 to 0 left to do. Okay, so when I save this file, now you see we have the h3 takes the add to do and input is type and add, but we put usually we put two buttons here and component. Afterwards, we're going to call the component here. Then we have h5 0 left to do. Okay, so if I come back here, what I'm going to see in my browser, I can see the add to do and the input and the two buttons and 0 left to do. Why? Because the JavaScript, the function component is now returning some UI. That's what we created now, right? So this is called a lexical environment. So basically you are creating by the physical code, right? So everything you are creating as you are intentionally creating everything here. So you only created this div. Inside the div you put h3 and then input and then button and some h5. That's what it's returning the UI here. So the logic, what we're going to put, whatever we put type here, and when we add, it is going to submit and going to add the string down. And when we clear that, it is going to clear all the things what we gonna add it here. And also I'm gonna put the checkbox here. Later on we'll put. Okay, so this is how basically this thing is working. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do, I'm just going to create a component folder. Now you understand this, right? So how this function is returning something new. Now we understand how does the function is returning some UI elements. Okay, so now I'm just going to create a folder called components. Okay, so what is component? The component is basically a function. I already told you that I'm not a teacher who always show a PDF and like kind of things, but I'm going to explain. But when you're getting into the project like in a class, everything we going to have a like compulsory. I'm going to give some explanation using some document. Okay, so don't worry, because this is not a good way to show all this document. Moreover, like I'm going to explain all these things by words. Okay, so now you see we have the component folder. That is an empty folder. Inside, I'm going to put two files. Okay, two component, not a file. The file is a component. Basically, what is basically a component? The component is a function in React. That function is going to return some UI. Okay, the UI. Why why the function is returning UI? What is the use case of React? The use case of the React is going to create a complicated UI as a piece of code. That's what we are using component. Basically, you can, if you create this file is going to export. You can import wherever you want in your application. This is one of the most advantage thing in a React. So this is why the React is most popular now. Okay, so inside the component, I'm just going to create two things. One is to do list. We'll keep it like to do.jsx. This is the file name. Okay, I'll put JSX. You can create using JS also. That is not a problem, but I'll stick with JSX. And I'm going to create a new file. This file is to do list.jsx. So here, closing tab missing in the inputs. Where is the closing tab is missing? Here, you don't need to put like this way. Okay, you're saying like this. This is going to be error, because for the input you don't need to put a close, because this is a self-closing tag. Okay, this is not usually work like this. So input is a self-closing tag. Okay, there is a two different types of tags in HTML. One is a normal. This is this one way, start tag and end tag with the slash. Another one is a self-closing tag, and we have a more tag like a break and the HR. There is a like self-closing tag. If you save that, I'm going to get a line also here. You see, these are the self-closing tag. Don't confuse about the self-closing and these kinds of elements closing. Okay, so now I'll just leave it like this way. So now we have the same output here. Now we have created the two files here, right? So you see we have created the two files. Now what I'm going to do basically here, okay, so now here, so do you have any doubts here? So far, if you have any doubts, you can ask me. So we can go step by step. That's why I'm stopping and asking you, because if you're not understanding anything like properly, I can give you some good examples, everything, right? So that's why I'm asking you. So if you have any, please, you can ask me. No, sir. Okay, thank you. We'll start. So basically now what I'm going to do, so this app requires, okay, we created the component file. So I'm just going to later on we come to here. Okay, we'll just create the two files. Okay, now come back here. You see, first step, what data we need to show in this application. Look carefully. You see, we have one application. This application is going to have some data. That is what the all over the world application is actually doing, right? So whatever the application you are creating, what you're going to show to the user or the client, it's just the data, right? Even if it is string or number or whatever it is, to make some logic, you're going to use a true or false as a boolean, or the object to make a name value paste, or the collection to store a collection of data structures and the data types and all these things. But here we're going to have only one simple data. The data is a string, right? So whatever you type here, okay, when you add that, this is going to output here. We're going to store that here. Okay, this is what we're going to do. So we're going to have only one data, right? So the data we're going to have, yeah, string. Yes, I'll just make it simple, str. Okay, the string type we're going to store. Okay, how, what is, when you're getting into React, most people say state. I don't know how many people heard about this. Basically in React, they usually say the data like state. Instead of saying data, they usually say state. So what is state? State is a data. What is the data here? The data is just a one word of string. That what we need to store and to show to the user. That's what the application is going to do now, right? So I need a state. How can I implement the state here into my React application? So the first step, what I'm going to do, I'm going to use a use state. Okay, this is a hooks in a React. Okay, what is hooks now? Hooks is basically a React functions. Okay, it is just a function. I want to import from in a React use state. Okay, it's coming from React. Remember, import. So why we are importing somewhere in the node, somewhere in the React somewhere in the React library, they basically used to put like this way. You see, we are actually exporting the same thing happening in their file. I don't know where the file is located, but because that is more complicated thing, so I'm not going to show that now. So you see, we basically we put import use state. Now I can create a state here. Okay, I'm just going to create a state. How can I create a state now? The second step, coming back here, I'm just going to give a state called const to do's. Okay, the name I'm going to give to do, and set to do is equal to, I'm just going to give hello. Okay, the string. Now basically what it's actually, we are actually doing destructuring. If you don't know about the destructuring in JavaScript, basically what it's happening, whatever the value initially you're giving, that is going to take this in a variable. Okay, whatever you're going to update, use to put this variable to call this variable, and you should want to update the existing value. Okay, now I can put console.log to do. You see, inside the JS, I'm used to put HTML and also the JavaScript. You see, this is one of the cool thing is in React. So we are using a JSX. This is not a JavaScript file. In a pure JavaScript file, you cannot able to return this HTML, right? So but in React, we're using JSX. That's what we are returning the HTML, and also we can use a JavaScript logic. So this is a pure JavaScript because we are using console.log the to do. What the to do is now contained. The to do is contained hello, where it is going to return. So if you come back to the browser, coming back to the to do, I'm going to open the inspect. You don't know about the developer tool. The inspect I'm going to show, this is the developer tool, help us to see the error and also inspect the elements of the HTML. Okay, so now I'm just going to inspect this. What thing I use there? Console. Where is the console? Here's the console. If I open this, I can see H. You see, basically hello, it is returning. Where it is coming? The app.js 6 console.log to do something, right? Why is it returning only the H? Which basically this H is coming from here. Okay, we'll put here. This is gonna return. This one is undefined. Yeah, now it is returning undefined. Okay, I will explain you. Wait 1 minute. Why it is returning H? What the problem we made? Wait 1 minute. Okay, sorry, I didn't use the use state. Basically what happening here, I call the use state. Okay, I just want to use the use state here. So I want to call the use state function, and I want to pass the value inside this use state. Okay, hello. Now when I console.log to do, I cannot able to explain how the use state under the hood is basically working. If you join the course, I can open the use state code, everything like this. Okay, the code, I'm just going to explain how these functions are basically works. So they're basically using the dispatch and set action, some kind of things. Okay, so this is I will explain it clearly in my courses and all, but here it is not a good place to explain that, because before we entering to here, you should want to understand a lot of basics things. Okay, so that's what I'm expecting to you. That's what I'm again asking you. Do you know really a JavaScript? Do you know really a JavaScript? Now I can now understand what this going to extend from this object, and why this they are using any like this here. But you guys are don't understand, because you're not if you're a beginner, I'm not talking about the intermediate level of programmer. If you are being here, I don't know about that, but for the beginner, I'm saying don't worry about this. If you attend the class, I'm just going to explain how these functions are basically works. So why we are actually passing the data here like this. Okay, now when I save this console.log to do, what I'm going to get, I'm just going to get the hello here. Why? Because the state is a data. The data what I gave intentionally here is a hello. That's why when I call the to do, this to do's now contain hello. Now it is returning the hello. Okay, so this is how the application basically works. Now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to take off all this console. Instead of string, I'm just going to give a array of object. Okay, array of object. So what is array? Array is a collection of data types. Inside, I'm just going to put a collection of object. So the object is a, what is object? Object is a collection of name value pairs. What is the name value pairs? So this is an object symbol. Okay, now this is empty. So if I console log the object, okay, const console log to do's. Okay, so if I save this file, now I can see empty. Inside the array we have only 0. You see, inside the array index of 0 we have only one object, that is empty. In this object we doesn't have anything, because it's a prototype. Don't worry about this, we later on we'll get into there. Now I'm just going to add two things here. One is id, the name, and the value of the id is 1. Then the name value is to do, we'll keep it like small, to do 1. Okay, I'm just going to copy this and I'll paste here. Okay, so now we have two things. One is 2. I'm just going to change this. I'm also going to put a completed here, completed true. I'll make a copy of it and I'll put here, this one is a 2, then this one is completed false. So when I save, now you see in the state I have I put a reference type of object. Okay, the object contains 3 name value pairs. One is id and name and complete. So the id is called a name value pair or key value. Okay, some people say key value or name value. Don't confuse about that thing. This is not a big deal. Okay, once you understand, once you getting into the JavaScript and all. So the id is a name and this one is a value. So the same thing happening here. Okay, so everything is good. Now when I save and when I console log the to do, what I'm going to get, I'm just going to get the object here. You see, when I clear, I can see that object. Don't worry about this virtual DOM. Okay, this is not a case to understand now. So this is a big concept. Later on, we'll get into there. So now if I open this, I can see the two objects here. One is the ID name and completed. Okay, and we have another one object. Okay, so just 1 minute. Now we have a now we have a two object. One is the takes id1 and id2. What where I can going to show this to do 1 and to do 2. I'm just going to show here, right? This is what how we made a app design. So item 1, item 2, item 3. I want to show here. So coming back to the VS Code, now we successfully created a state, what we need, what we require in our application. The second step, I want to show that to the user, right? So this is what we want to do now. So what I'm going to do, basically here, in the to-do list, okay, in the to-do list, first step, I'm just going to create something here. First step, I'm going to create a const, okay, to-do list. You should want to give the file name what as you created here, to-do list. Okay, this is the file name, equal to, it's a function, component is a function. I'm going to use an arrow function. It takes a one props called to-dos. Okay, then I want to pass an arrow to make this function. Now we have this function, you see, to-do list, and it takes one props. Okay, and we are used to the props is basically we are using the destructuring here. Basically the props takes an object. Okay, so that's why we are using the destructuring. this component is returned. This component is going to return some JSX, okay, the HTML, because we should want to show the data to the user in a front end. Takes a div, inside the div, it is going to return what means, basically, for example, 5 plus 5. Okay, this is a JavaScript expression. What the expression is going to do, the expression is going to return a single value. So 5 plus 5 equal to 10, right? So this is the expression now. So this expression is going to return a single value. That's why we are calling expression. Okay, so when I come back here to the app, now what I'm gonna do here, I'm just exporting from here default as to-do list. For now, I'll just take this out. Okay, you just listen how see how this is basically works. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to import that component into my app.js. Okay, so import to-do list, right? The file name to-do list from the dot component, the folder you see. From this component dot slash, I'm just jumping back one file. That's what the dot is referring. Okay, I'm jumping to one file back to the component. The component, inside the component folder, I have the to-do list. Now I map that file here. Now I imported that here. I can able to use that here. Okay, so this is one of the powerful thing. Wherever you want this component, you can basically call the component and use it to show the UI. If you're updating anywhere, though, it is going to update wherever you call the the component. Okay, so now here what I'm gonna do, I'm just going to basically call the to-do list. Okay, the to-do list. This to-do list not going to take anything. I'm not going to call like this way. I'm just going to keep it like this. Okay, to-do list. I'm calling the component here. Okay, understand one thing. I created the component. This is the creation phase. Understand? Then I used to export that and I imported here. I call the component here. What is component? Component is basically a function. So here you created, you imported, you call. What is going to return that component? It is returning 10, right? Because this 5 plus 5 is returned 10. That's what it is now returning as 10 here, right? So now we understand how these things work. So if you not understand, just ask me. I will explain and we'll jump into the second step. If you guys have any doubt, please let me know. That we'll clear that and we jump to the next part. Not having any doubt. Okay, we'll start. Okay, so now here I'm not going to return this 5 plus 5 equal to 10. Okay, instead of that, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to show the data to the user. Okay, so you see this component contains some props. We can able to pass the props. The function have properties. The same way I'm going to do, I'm just going to pass some props here. The props, how we can pass a props, I'm just going to give a to-dos. Okay, you can give whatever the name you want. I'm just, to make sense, I'm just going to give it as a to-do here. This to-do is equal to the to-do is equal to 1 minute. So the to-do is equal to what I'm going to pass the state, this to-do. Okay, you already know what the to-do is returned. It is going to return the actual array. This array contains two objects. One is id1 and id2. Okay, now when I pass this, now I can able to access this props, the array, into my to-do list. Here I'm coming back. So here what I'm gonna do, basically this to-do I'm just going to destructure here inside here. Before that, I will show you console.log to-dos. Okay, when I save this file, again I save this file. Okay, now I'll save this. If I come back here, I will clear this out, refresh. Now I can see, wait 1 minute, I'll put a command here. I'm come from to-do list. Okay. So when I save this file, okay, now you see in the app we have the data, the state, we created the state, and then we call the component here. Inside the component we used to call the props. The props name is to-dos equal to dos. The to-dos what? This one. Okay, we are passing the to-dos. I can able to call that or use that inside this to-do component. That's why I'm using the console.log. I am come from to-do list. I'm calling the to-dos. Who is the to-do? The array. If I come back, I can see I'm come from to-do list. This array is now showing here. So I can pass the state wherever I want into my component. So I can able to access that state, and I can able to modify or delete or update or whatever I can do with that. Okay. So this is one of the powerful thing in a React. So I'm just calling that state here. So everything is okay, but this is not our case. In our case, we should want to show the data to the user here. So how can I do? So in JavaScript, we have a array methods. I'm just going to use a map method to loop through all these things. Okay. So here, basically, I'm going to give to-dos. Okay. To-dos dot map. This map is going to take a function, callback function. If you don't know callback function, don't worry. I will explain everything in a class. Okay. Here, I'm used to put a to-do dot map. This map is takes a function. Just 1 minute. This map takes a one thing, that is to do. The to do is what means it is going to iterate each and every object inside that array. Okay. So now when I put console.log to do here, okay, when I save this, I'm going to get, I will just clear this out and run this. You see, I get object. So now this loop works properly, and I get the each and iteration of the count inside the array. I can able to output in my console. So now we have the two object here, right? Now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to return as a paragraph. Okay, this paragraph is going to takes a to do is an object. Okay, to do is an object. Remember, I'm just going to put to do dot name. So the to do object contains name, because we only created this. You see, we only created this id and the name equal to do one. Now I call the to object. To access a to access a object property, you should want to give a dot operator, or else we have another property also. We can, if you don't know about the operator presidency, please learn the operator presidency, because if you not understand the operator presidency, you're going to have a lot of bugs here. Okay. So just note these words and all. If you're not going to join the course and all also, like please learn all these things, because operator presidency is one of the most important thing in JavaScript. So how the left to right is working, how the right to left, the symbols are basically in the character sets are working. So please learn all these things. This dot is one of the most top place. Okay. So that's what it is. Basically it works from left to right. So left to right. That's why I'm using to do dot name. Now if I come back, I can see, don't worry about this one, we'll clear this later. Now I can see to do one, to do two, the string. Where it is coming, it is coming from inside this to do, right? We have the object, we pass the object into this prop. I call the props, I call the I destructure here. I used to put the map. I can get all the individual, all the single of object here. That objects, this map is returned some paragraph. This paragraph value contains to do dot name, because this one is having a name, right? That's why this is now returning to do one and to do two. Okay. So if I see, if I type and something, if I add, I want to add this string to here. So it is going to generate each and every time, right? So we should want to do that. We're going to do that now. So now everything is fine. You see, now everything is fine, right? So now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to get into this one. Okay, I'm just going to make this as a component. I want to render this as a component, not a direct paragraph. Okay, coming back to the todo.js, I'm just going to give it basically, now you see the component has a checkbox and the string. Okay, this is what we want to do now. Come back here, the to do. So here I want to create a const to do. As I said, if you created the what the file name is it equal to the function name here. Okay, equal to, then it is going to take one thing to do, one props. Here I'm just going to call the arrow function. This arrow function, this function is going to return return a JSX with the HTML of dev, and I'm going to put a label here. Okay, we don't need this one. Okay, we don't need this one. We don't need this. Then the label, what? Okay, here I'm just going inside the label. I'm going to put the input type is checkbox. Then I'm going to put basically I'm going to put a checked here. The checked is initially the checked is going to be true. Okay, initially the checked is I'm going to keep it as a true. Now I want to give a span here inside the label. The span is going to take a to do dot name. Why I'm using the dot here? Because I'm going to change this to do as an object. Okay, when I save this, now it is going to show an error. Now it is not going to show an error. So export default to do. I'm basically created this function here. This function takes one. Okay, one props here. We are destructuring here using an object. So it's return what? One div, and the label, inside the label we used to put the checkbox, input checkbox, and the value is true. Then I used to call the span. The span takes the to do dot name. So why? Because the to do is going to be an object where I'm going to call. I'm going to call the to inside this here. Okay, so now instead of now is to use this to do, I exported here. I want to import here, right? So this is one of the important thing. So if you're not going to import, it is going to show an error. So to do is coming from dot to do. Okay, from the dot to do file. So now it is returning to do. Now I'm going to take this out here. I'm going to give to do. Okay, to do, remember the name I gave to the prop is equal to do. I'm calling the prop name here to do. I'm going to pass the value of the each and single object here. Okay, when I save this file, come back here, the same thing is working with the checkbox. Now the checkbox is not going to work because we should need to add some functionality. So don't worry about this errors and all. Now I'm going to clear these errors and all. Don't worry about this. So far we basically created some data and we pass the data into a component props and we showing it to the front end. So is there any doubt, guys? So if you have any doubt, you can please ask me, then we can jump into the next concept. The full hereafter we're going to look for the functional base. So just confirm that you guys are understanding properly or not, so that we can jump to the functionals logics and all, to how the add and clear and checkbox or basically works. Is there any doubt? You can just send me a chat, because I just want to know that you guys are understanding or not. That's why. Just leave a chat. Anyone, please. Okay, so now we have that. We get the recording of the section for us to practice. Yeah, you get the recording, brother. Don't worry about that. You will surely get the recording. Yeah. What is the use of map? Thank you. Okay. So the use of map, right? So now what I'm going to do here, we have an array. Okay, for example, const. I'm just going to put some array here. Const array is equal to, and here I'm just going to put 1 2 2 3 4 5. Okay, what is this? This is array, right? So because it is a collections of data here, so it is not going to return a one single value. It is a reference type. It is an object in JavaScript. It is going to be an collections of data. So what is data? Everything is a data here. It's a collection, because that's why we're using the comma operator here. When I console.log array in JavaScript, everything is object. So I'm going to put a type of object, type of that array. What I'm going to get here in the console, if I refresh this, I can get object, right? I can get the array and type is object, because the type of the array in JavaScript is an object. It is not so weird. This is how the JavaScript created would create that. Okay, so you don't want to confuse about that. So if you are having any confusion about this data types and that, like these kinds of things, I'm just going to clear all these things before we learning the React, I'm just going to focus on the JavaScript only. If you come to this my course, okay, don't worry about that. I know this is very complicated to explain the React. If you guys don't know the JavaScript, don't worry. Soon I'm just going to explain everything. Okay. Now I'm just going to use a for. Okay. For we can use a for. Okay. So let I equal to 0, I less than array dot length. Array as some length. So what is the length of that array? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here we have basically 5. And then I'm just going to increment that I plus plus. Okay. I'm just going to put console.log. This is an array we can use to get a specific value using an index number. Now inside the console.log, what the I is going to return now? We'll check what the I is going to return. When I save this, I can see, refresh, I can see 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, what is the value of array 0, index array 0? Console.log array 0. When I save, I'm going to get, will command this one. This is returning 1 because in the 0 index, this array contains 1. That's what it is returning, 1. Now, I used to put for loop here, okay? I used to put for loop here. Let I equal to 0, I less than array dot length. What is the array dot length? Less than 5. Okay. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I plus plus each every time when the loop is running, I'm just increment that one I equal to plus 1, then plus 2, 3, 4, 5, like that. It goes on. When it hits this, it has become true, the loop is going to stop. Okay, this is how the for loop is basically works. So the I is going, what the I is going to return? The I is going to return 1, 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the index number of the array, right? Now I can map that array, I can call that array and put I here. The I is going to return the index value numbers. When I save, now what I do, I basically give some string here. Okay, I'll just put hello. When I save, now you see it is returning 1, 2, hello, 4, 5. It is looping now. This is how we use, but we don't want to use the for loop each and every time when using the array. In array we have a core methods. Okay, so we can use the map is also going to do the same thing. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to get a specific value each and every time when the loop is running. So what I'm gonna do, array dot map, I can pass the function. This function is going to take two things. One is the item and another one is going to take the index. You already know what is index. Index is basically the number of that array. Okay, so okay. So the each and every numbers, okay, each and every number 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So now here I'm going to put console.log. Console.log, I'll basically put the backticks, and here I'll call the index, and I'll use to call the item. Now when I save, I'm going to get 0. In the 0 index I have 1, in the 1 index I have 2, in the 2 index I have hello, in the 3 I have 4, in the 4 index I have 5. This is why we are using map. So now we have the array of values and we are mapping through each and every time. Now the same thing I'm doing here in the to-do list, right? You see in the to-do list, what we are basically do, we used to put the map. What the to-do array is now contained. This array contains the objects. So now I can get the objects here. I can pass through this props. I can get the props here through destructuring. Now I can call that in the value equal to to-do.name. You see, to-do.name. When I save this, that's why I get to-do1, to-do2 here. Now you see, I hard-coded the data here as a true, the checked, but this object takes a completed is a boolean, true and false. If that is true, the checkbox should be checked. If that is false, the checkbox should be unchecked. So this is what the logic now, right? So now what I can do here, instead of hard-coded data here, I can call the to-do object and I can call the property called completed. So what the completed contains, basically the one completed contains true, another completed contains false. Now if I save this, what it is going to reflect in the front end, it is basically going to reflect one checkbox is going to check and another checkbox is going to uncheck. So when I save this, when I come back here, now you see the first one is true because that's what it is now, have a tick. The second one is false, that's what it is now, not having the tick. So now we understand how this map function and for loops are basically works. This is why we are using the map here. So now we understand. Yes, thank you so much. So we're going to learn a lot of things. Okay, once you get into the classes, so don't worry about this. Because why? Because learning React is super cool now. Because I know my friend, he is having like 2 years experience, but now he's earning more than 80,000. Seriously, I'm saying, because React is a most demand skill now right now in the market. So if you learn the React properly and you get into some MNC or some startup company, they're ready to pay more than 40,000 as a beginner. Seriously. So just start with React. So if you're coming from the JavaScript or whatever, so just start with the React. So learn properly, then you can, they will ready to pay a lot. Seriously, I'm saying you can earn yearly like 20 lakhs per annum is not a big deal if you learn React and Redux properly. They only expect you how to manage the state. The state is a data. Remember, the state is a data. You should want to remember the state keyword. You want to manage the state logic throughout your application. That's one thing what the company was required from you. Okay, so that is one of the most important things. I cannot able to give you a lot of advanced topic inside this demo session, because that is another that takes a lot of time. Because before I explain that, you should want to understand the basic structure, how the React core is working. That's what I couldn't able to explain all these things. I'm so sorry about that. But this is not a basic thing. So this is a clear way how this React is working. Okay, so now everything is fine. We map through it. Now we call the checkbox. Now the UI part is completed. Now we're going to work on the functionalities. Okay, what the functionality is going to do. First step, look the app properly. Okay, what the app takes, the functionalities. First step, this is going to take a add to do. When I type something, when I hit add to do, it is going to submit this value to here. That is what we do now, right? So coming back to here, how now the second question you come to into your mind, I want to create some new event here. What is event? Event is an action in JavaScript. For example, please give me information about for full stack course. Yeah, basically I'm not full stack is a bit difficult if you're a beginner. So what my advice is, first learn a front end developer, because here the pure logic is a UI based. Okay, if you understand these logic and the coding, you can jump to the backend logic and you can able to create some cool application by your own self. So because what I learned so far in my career, so if you're starting as your career, start with your front end. If you want to become a full stack developer in a JavaScript. Okay, JavaScript is a cool language, because if you learn that one language, you can become a front end or back end, or you can become a full stack. So first, just master at one thing, that is a front end or a back end, whatever it is. Okay, so you just want to learn any one of these concepts very clearly, then you can become a full stack developer. This is what my advice. If you take, that's okay, but you can also learn a full stack development. That is not a like a difficult thing. But I'm just explaining the easy way to become a full stack developer. Okay, first master at one and then jump back to the another thing, so that you can easily able to master that thing also. Okay, so that's it. That is my advice. So now I want to give a functionality here. So this button is going to have an event. What the event? It is a click event. So I can pass the on click. The function name I'm going to give handle add to do. Okay, the function name I gave here is called handle add to do. Now what I'm going to do, basically I want to create the function. Okay, so how can I do the function here? Here I can call the I can create the function handle add to do. It is going to take an event parameter. I will show you what is event parameter, everything. Console.log hello I am click. Okay, so whenever I click this button, this function is going to run. What the function is doing, this function is basically consoling log hello I am click. That's all. Okay, if I come back here, now the console is empty. When I clear this out, this console is now purely empty. When I click, I can see hello I am click. When I click again, this function is now running. Whenever you click this on click event, this function is going to run. Now this is in a creation phase, so whenever you click, this function is going to run. So we come to know, when I click this, now this is returning hello I'm click. But what our logic is, we should want to get this data and want to show here. That is our logic, right? So Now here I'm going to take this console. First step, you should want to understand what is E. I'm passing E in a function parameter. What the E is going to return. When I console log the E, coming back here, clear this out. When I click, I'm going to get an object. Why I'm saying object? Note this flower bracket or curly brace, whatever the people say. Okay, this is an object. It is going to have a name value pass. If I open this, you see we have a lot of things: all key, bubbles, buttons. If you don't need all these things, don't worry about that. We are not going to use like this logic and all. Also, we have a lot of properties here. The client wax, client y. Basically, it is returning where you click inside this button. Okay, so that is it is returning. Then we have a target. The target is basically a button. If you are working in a JavaScript, this is one of the most important property. Okay, the target is basically a button. So when I hover, you see the button is now selecting. This is the target, what the button on click is actually doing. Now the step is what the step we should need here. When I type something, first step I need this value when I submit. So how can I take this input value? This is the second question what into our mind, right? So first I'm just going to take to show you only I'm using the event parameter. It doesn't need the event parameter here basically. So I'm going to use ref to give a reference. Okay, to give a reference to the elements. So use ref. What the use ref is going to do, the use ref, we can give a reference in which element you are click or you are giving some actions. So I'm going to create a variable called const to do name ref. I'm just giving the reference, that's all. Okay, use ref. Now the to do name ref, I'm just going to call to the input, because the input, in the input only I want to get the value. Okay, to use the ref you should want to pass ref, and you want to put that to do name ref. The to do name is ref is what? Use ref function. We actually reference here. Now inside here, what I can do, I'm just going to create a const name is equal to do name ref. Remember, to do name ref, what we give a reference into this input. Okay, now what I'm going to do, now we'll see what the to do ref is basically returns. Console.log name. What I'm going to get when I click this add to do, come back here, clear this out. When I click and get an object, what is the current? The current, you see, this is an object. The current is returning input, right? When I hover the input, I can see the input is highlighting here. So I can use to put, this is an object. I have the property called current. It is coming from this name because we usually put this to do name reference here. We are referencing here. So name dot current. Now what I'm going to get? Now, when I click here, I'm going to get the input, right? So whenever I type and I click, I'm going to get the input, but I don't need the input. I need only the value of the input. What I can do now? Now, I can usually put dot value here. Okay, current name, current dot value. So this is going to return me back a value. Okay, the string value. If I type now, you see, I'll put Jagan here and type add to do. When I'm going to get the value here, Jagan. You see, this is how I can able to get the value from the input. Now I'm just copy from here and I'll put here to do name ref, and the to do name ref is going to return an object called current. The current is going to return the input. The input is going to return the value. When I used to call the console.log name here, when I save this file, come back here, clear this out. The name is Jagan. When I add, I get the data. Okay, successfully we get the data from the input. Now the second step, what we want to do, we want to check the validation. If the user should not give any value here, okay, just 1 minute. The user should not give any value, and if they hit submit, we should want to show the alert here. Okay, you see, whenever I click, it is submitting the empty value. This is not a perfect user experience, so that I should not want to allow the user to submit in an empty, right? So what I can do now, I'm just going to use a if statement here. What the if statement? If name, if that name is equal to true, like empty. Okay, if the name is equal to empty, the value, the name is written the value of string. Remember, if that is equal to empty, when we submit, I just want to show the alert of please add to do. Now I'm just want to give a return because I don't want to continue this, so I'll just give a return. come back here. So when I clear this, there is no value. If I hit add to do, I'm going to get the alert, please add to do. When I hit okay, now this return the false. So this is how these things are working. Now the validation is also done. Third step, what we should want to show the user here, right? So this is the second step. What I'm going to do here, basically you see we have the two object existing object, right? This is a hard coded object. I'm just going to make it as a empty now. Okay, now I'm just going to make this as a empty. So now I'm just going to make this array as empty. Okay, I'm just going to make this as an empty. Now if I come back, I'm not going to see anything because this array does not contain anything. You see, I didn't change anything here. I just removed the data from this empty array. That's what the array. Now this array is empty. That's why this is not showing any data. So what I want to do now, whatever I type and submit here, the value I'm going to store into this empty array. Already I told you when I created the state, the value is going to contain from this variable. If you want to update the state, you should want to use the set to do. Okay, I'm just going to update this empty value to the value what I have submitting here. That is what I'm just going to do now. Now I'll take the set to do, come back here. So if that name is equal to empty, it is going to return the alert. If that is not empty, I just want to call the set to do. Here we can get the previous to do. Okay, I will show you what is previous to do. Don't worry about that. This is going to return a function. Okay, because that is a function. That's what we are using the use to do there. Okay, so now, so here what it is going to return, so it is going to return, okay, it is going to return a previous state of the to do. What is the previous state of the to do? It is an empty array. Remember, the previous state is empty. Okay, I want to call the previous to do. Then I want to give the updated value. The updated value I'm going to put id 1. It is going to show in some error. I will explain what the error we're going to get now. Name is name because this name is what I need. Remember, the name value I'm passing to this name value pair of the object. Then I want to put completed. Initially, I used to put false. Okay, false. When I save completed, false, name is name, ID is 1. When I save, there is nothing is not gonna change here. I will take this out. Okay, when the user's not not having any value here, it is going to show the alert. But if not, what I want to do, I want to set some data into my to do. That's why I'm set some data, the new to do data. And also I'll put console.log previous to do. Okay, previous to do. When I save this, come back here, when I type something, hit add to, now you see it is returning something, right? Whatever the data you gave, that is going to output here. And the console, you see, it is the previous to do. Okay, now initially it is empty because the last previous time the to do is empty. The next time I used to put another value and I hit submit, this is going to be different. And also the previous to do got added one value. The previous to do of that, this one, what is the previous to do of this one? Because one value got added. Now do you guys understand? So if not, just let me know. I will show the error now. Don't worry about the error. Okay, so the error, basically this error is showing if you used to put the on click, you should want to give the function here. So I'll just give the on change. For now I'll just use to put some function here, the normal function. Okay, this function is going to return console.log. This function is going to return console.log hello. Okay, I will save this, come back. Now if I clear this out, clear, now it is going to disappear because we are not storing anywhere. So I will say what is the error also, the key props and all. Okay, don't worry about this. So now we see this is now we added some data. When I submit, it got added here. That is what we did in a logic. So the previous to do is empty, and again I'll put another data here. This previous to now you see the previous to got added the one ID with 1. Now if I keep on typing, this is going to be add on, keep on going to add on, because we are I'm just showing the previous to do. Why we need the previous to do? Basically, in a functional programming way, we cannot able to directly mutate the data. Okay, what is the meaning of mutate? Mutate is you cannot able to change. Okay, so to mutate the data here, we should want to make a copy of it. What is the spread operator is doing? It is, if your guys don't know what is spread operator, I'm just going to explain everything in the JavaScript class. If you attend this course, don't worry about that. Okay, the teaching is not like this way. When the demo only, I'm just making very fast and all, and I'm just giving some technical words and all. So every technical words I'm going to have, and I'm going to show you the explanation of the words. It is just a word, that's all. Okay, when you getting into my course and all, so I'm going to give a clear explanation of what is spread operator, how basically everything works. So basically what it is doing, it is going to copy of the previous to do. Now the previous to do is initially empty. It makes a copy, and in that previous empty to do, it is basically going to add one object. So each and every time when we submit, it is going to copy the previous to do and going to add a new existing object to that previous to do. This is how the previous to do is basically works. Now you understand, guys? So don't worry about this. If it is very too complicated, don't worry, because this is the way how you should want to learn a React using a real world project. This is very simple project, but if you're coming into the course, you're gonna create some big project using the Firebase and everything. You're gonna learn a full stack application also. Don't worry about that. Okay, so now everything is fine. We should want to clear this alert. Each child in a list should have a unique key props. What is this error saying to us? Basically, when you're working in a React, what will happen when you updating anything, the React is going to change which component is basically updated. Okay, that is one of the most efficient thing in a React. So it is not going to update all the component here. It is going to update only the specific component which one is got updated. So that's what makes the React more powerful, and also most it gives some most give super performance. Okay, so this is how React is working. So now I want to give each child in a list should have a unique key props. Okay, the props, remember I already told you the what is props. The props is what we are passing to this component, right? So to this component. So now what I want to do, I just want to pass a key to it. Okay, pass a key to it. Now coming back to the to-do, so this is the component we are rendering. So I want to give a okay, sorry, here I want to give a key to this each and every component. So the key, okay, the key is to do dot id. When I save this, come back here, clear this out again. I'm just going to refresh this. When I type something, hit add to do. Now the first time it is not showing any error. The second time when I hit, it is showing another error. You see, is showing another. What this error? Encountered two children with the same key of 1. Why this is returning like this? Because we did hard-coded ID. This is not a proper way. What we want to do, each and every time when we submit it, I want to generate a new ID ID to this. That's what it is clearly warning us. Encountered two children with the same key. We have two children with the same key. This is the problem now we are actually now facing now. So how can I solve that? I'm just going to use a UUID module from the npm node module. Okay, the UUID module. This is what this module is going to do. It is kind of library. It is going to generate a new ID each and every time when the function is running. Okay, so to run this npm, I just want to make sure to run this command. So I'll click and I come back here, open the terminal. Okay, open the terminal, or else you can put directly in the command prompt. Basically, I always used to put to run this application. So I'm going to put here. Just give me 30. Yeah, okay. Now it's open the file path. Here I want to paste that npm I definition is install. Okay, I'm basically what I'm saying, from this node package module, npm node package module, install uuid package. When I hit enter, it is going to install all the required functionalities for us. Now it is basically downloading all the things for us. Okay, so now another thing I want to explain, one is the important thing. Okay, in the package.json, you keep eye on here. Okay, now you see one thing got added here, UUID. Okay, why it is added? Because we installed the UUID here directly here. Now that is got updated here. Why this is updated? Because our app dependencies, so look here, what are the dependency of the app? React, React DOM, React script, and also I need a dependency of to create the ID is called UUID, the library. Okay, don't worry about the script. Initially I'll give a npm start. This is one of the command which why this React application is working. When you want to move the production, so you can use to put a build. This build is going to build some project production mode to push our code into an internet. I don't know about this ESLint config and browser list and all. We don't need this. Basically we just only going to focus on the dependency and all the script. Okay, we don't need all these things and all. Okay, that is useful. That is useless. Okay, now instead of calling the ID1 hard-coded data, I just want to call the package here. How can I call the package? So that is the second question. So coming back here, so I can directly put, okay, we'll check the documentation, what they are actually saying. So quick start to create a random UUID, okay, unique ID, basically npm install UUID. We already did that. I want to import this one. Okay, I'll just copy and paste here. I'm just importing the UUID from UUID library. We already imported that. We also added that into my dependency. I already show you that. Then what I want to do, I basically the function, I just want to call this one. Okay, you see now this is returning the unique character ID. Okay, I will show you what it's basically look like. Now if I come back, instead of this hard-coded data, I'm just going to pass this UUID v4. Okay, I'm just going to take this one. Don't need this. Okay, and also I'll just show you. I'll console log and show you what the UUID basically returns. Okay. Now when I save, set to do returns a previous to do. When the previous to do is empty, it is going to update each and every time when we submit that. And I'm generating the auto ID. You see UUID, it is going to generate each and every time, even the user is going to be a million user or a billion user, it is going to generate each and every time the new unique key. Okay, come back to the to do app, clear all this out, refresh the page. Now when I type something, hit add, now it is returning some unique ID. Again I take this and I add a unique ID. Now this is not showing any error because now this is not encountering any new key props as equal to the first one. Okay, this is how the UUID basically works. The UUID package is gonna useful to make some unique ID, so we can map that unique ID to the each and every list of the component. So this is how these things are working. So you see each and every time we are generating the new unique ID for the app. Okay, so that's it. It's not now having any issue to do that. So now everything is fine, but now the thing is we are actually adding the to do, everything is fine, but you see this is now not clearing, right? So this is not a perfect user experience. So I want to clear this out. So what I'm going to do, I'm just when everything is done, I'm just going to make sure to do name ref is input. I want to call the current object. In that current object I have the value. The current object is going to return the input. The value is equal to null. Null is empty, is a data type. When I hit back, clear this out, I type something, now it is clearing also. Now when I hit, I'm going to get the alert. So the perfect user experience. Okay, each and every time when I add, it is going to add a new element to this new component to this list. Okay, so now everything is fine. Now when I refresh, it is going to disappear. This is not a good way of doing because user want to know even if they close the tab and come back here. So we're going to solve this. So before that, I want to show you how the click and this functionality is basically works. Okay, so now I want to do the toggle to do. You see, this is the toggle to do, right? So whenever I click, now this function is returning hello. Why? Because I usually put the function here on change console.log hello, right? So that's why when I click, it is returning hello. Now I want to pass some props here. So basically coming back to the app.js. So here what I'm gonna do, I just take this out. I don't need this. Okay, save this. Now here I'm just going to create a function. This function is going to have a function name called toggle to do. Oh, toggle to do. It is going to take an ID because I need. I will explain you first. I will explain you. So now what I can do now, this to-do list. You see, this to-do list is the parent. I'm now going to pass the function here, and then I'm going to pass the function here, and then I'm going to catch the function here. This is how we can do this because this is a way of prop drilling. we have only two components. That is okay to make sure to put some prop dealing. But if we have a lot of component, like 50 or 60 component in your application, this is not even possible, right? So we usually pass down like that way. So that is not a good idea to create a prop drilling. So in that case, we usually use a state management or a Redux or context API like this. There is a lot of concept. So in that time we're gonna use, but here we don't need the state and also the context API or Redux. We're going to use only the prop drilling. So basically, I'm just going to create the function here. This to do to toggle to do. It takes ID. Now here what I'm going to do, basically the toggle to do basically takes some functionalities. What I want to do, I already told you, you cannot able to mutate the data directly. Okay, so const, I'm just going to give a const is new to do is equal to, I'm going to copy the existing to do. Remember, I'm just going to copy this existing to do using spread operator. It is going to copy the existing to do. Then const to do equal to, I'm gonna give new to do's. Okay, new to do's dot. Okay, before that I will show you some example. Wait, console.log id, then console.log name. This is a good way. Console.log hey from to do list. Okay, so I'll save this function. I'm just going to take this function. Okay, I'm just going to take this function and I'm going to pass it here. The name I'm going to give toggle, toggle, toggle to do is equal to the toggle to do. Okay, I will save this. Now this to do list contains some new property. The new component. I can catch that inside here. I can catch that inside. I passed it as a props, so I can catch that here. I can destructure the to do toggle to do. Then I'm going to use to put a new props here, toggle to do equal to a toggle to do. Now I can able to catch that inside this to do .jsx. Okay, so here basically what I usually do, okay, I will keep it like instead of console.log, I'm just going to give a toggle to do. So this toggle to do function takes one argument. The argument is basically what, the ID, right? The ID. Now here this is a object. This object contains ID. Remember, we have three properties in the object. One is ID, and one is a ID, and another one is a name, and another one is a checked. Okay, so we have a lot of things there. So now I can pass the ID here to do dot ID. The to do toggle to do. When I save this, everything is saved. Now come back here. Toggle to do is not defined. Where the function error is coming from? In the to do.jsx. Why here? Okay, we destructure here, we calling here, we didn't destructure here. Okay, I also want to destructure the toggle to do here. So I want to destructure here. When I save, now it is okay. Okay, so clear this out, refresh this one, type add to do, type new value, add to do. When I click, I'm going to get the ID, and also I'm going to get hey from to do list. If I click this, I'm going to get the new ID, and I'm going to get the hey from to do list. So each and every time if you click that thing, it is going to return the actual ID of the element what it is stored. And like this is how these things are working, right? So now what I'm going to do, now we got the ID here. So coming back to the logic, we're going to write the logic here now. So to the app.js. Okay, now what I want to do, I just want to create a new to, because I cannot able to mutate the data directly in a state. So to do equal to, it is going to be an spread operator. I want to make sure to make a copy of the to do array. Remember this to do arrays. Okay, to do arrays. Then I want to call const to do is equal to new to do is a copy of what, the actual array, right? I want to find from the array, I want to find what I want to find. If the to do is ID is equal, the if that I'm going to give a to do. Okay, it is going to return each and every iteration same like a map. So but it is different format, but it's not going to be very difficult, it is very easy only. So it is going to return a to do dot, if the to do dot ID is equal to the ID what we are passing here, Okay, this is the logic. If the to do dot finds, if that is equal to the ID what I'm passing here, I just want to make sure to do dot complete. Okay, I can get the complete. If that is equal to match, if that is true, here it is true, I can mimic here like equal to false, to do dot complete. Then what I want to do, I want to set that updated to do to the set to do, because we should want to update each and every time when it is happening. Okay, so when you click, it is going to check, find, it is going to find the array, going to check for the to each and every iteration. It is going to check if the to do ID is equal to the ID what I'm passing here. If that is match, it is going to update the to do dot complete true equal to false. If it is false, it is going to update equal to true. Now if that is done, I just want to set the to do equal to new to do what we are actually updated the existing array. Come back here, click this. Now it is properly working, right? So this is the logic what we have. Okay, now this is also fine. Now what I want to do, second step, what is the logic? Another logic. So we have to put a clear to do, right? So to put the clear to do, here we have the on click, another on click. So we should want to put the on click. This on click name I'm going to give handle like clear to do. Okay, I want to create this function also. Come back here. So after here we can create the function handle to do. Here I'm going to put const new, the same thing I'm going to do, const new to do. Here the logic is going to be a bit different. To do's, okay, to do's dot filter. Remember, to do's, I'm just filtering from the to do. Okay, to do's dot filter, which one? Oh yeah, to do do. This is the logic, right? So if it is a true, I want to find out that one. Yeah, okay, everything's good. So if the to do each and every iteration that the item we are getting, if that is not equal the false, if that is false, I want to clear that one. Okay, complete that. So if that is false, it is basically going to filter only the false one. Remember, okay, set to do, this is going to update the previous. Actually we don't need the previous to do. Basically I will put like this. Okay, no problem. Inside I'm just going to return the new to do. It is going to filter out and return when we clear this out. Okay, so come back. This is very simple logic. Don't worry about this error. Handle clear is okay, it's a previous error. When I save this, not going to get any error. If I save, type add, when I click clear, now this is clearing. When I click, it is clearing. So now everything is cool, right? So when I hit and type add to do, when I click this, if it is now it is false. Okay, when you check this, it is false. When I clear, that is going to clear from here, because we are filtering that from to do. If the to do is not equal, not completed, if that is not completed means what? It is true now. Okay, we are basically checking the false. Now the set to do is going to return the new to do what I basically filter from here. Okay, so this is how these things are working. And then we have we should want to show the count here. Okay, instead of using like this, what I'm gonna do, take this out. Here I'm going to use to put to do's, the array to do's dot filter. This is going to filter the to do's. Okay, the to do, then the same logic, to do dot completed. So when I say to do dot completed dot length, yeah, I need the length because I want to show the number here. Okay, so when I save, come back, now I can see 2 because we have only 2. If I add one more, it is going to update the value. So you see, whatever you are adding here, it is automatically updated here. This is one of the most important thing in React. So when the component got updated, it is going to update wherever you call the component. Okay, this is one of the efficient way. This is another efficient way in a React. So that is also one of the most popular thing. Okay, now the step we should want to solve, when I refresh this, it is going to disappear, right? So I want to store that somewhere in my browser or some database or wherever. So we just want to send to the database or some cloud storage or whatever, but we are not connecting any Firebase or that, because it takes a lot of time, and also it is not good idea to explain. Now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to store the data into my local storage. What is local storage? The local storage is basically a space you can store some minimum value of data in your browser. So when you click the when you close the browser also, it is not going to disappear from your browser, because that is what the usage of local storage. Come back here. Now what I do, local storage dot set item. Okay, set item, I'm just going to give it as a name of test. Okay, and the value I'm going to give test name. When I save, I can see the test and test name. Even if I refresh this page, it is not going to disappear. You see, it is staying here. So this is one of the cool thing. We're going to store all these data to here, and I'm going to show to, and I'm going to fetch everything from the local store and going to show into the front end. So now the thing is that what the thing is here, basically we cannot able to directly store the raw object here. Okay, so to make it as a string, I'm going to use a json.stringify to convert that raw object into a string. Okay, coming back here. So first step, what I'm gonna do here, this is where we are adding the to do, right? So inside I'm gonna set to do local storage dot set to do, sorry, set item. The key name, I'm just create a key name here. It's called ls key, local storage key equal to I'll just give a value of to do's. So now I'll take this ls key, and I can basically here, this instead of the string I can pass the ls key. Here we have the to do's, remember, that's what we created a string on the top. Okay, remember. So to do's ls key here. Now what I'm going to set here, basically I'm going to set, I already told you we cannot able to directly push that raw object into that. I'm just going to put json.stringify is, I want to get the previous to do, because we cannot able to modify directly. So previous, just make a copy of it. I want to put this line like in the top. I'll just take this one and put inside here. Okay, so when I come back, when I clear this out, refresh, add to do, now it is adding here. Now one object added to the local storage. Again I'm adding another object to the local storage, but even though if I refresh, it is going to disappear. You see, it is disappear because we only store the data here. We should want to take the data and show to the user. So how can I do? So we're going to use a use effect for that. Okay, use effect. So what the use effect is going to do, so if I come back here, now I'll show you what the use effect is basically do. Use effect is a side effect in React. So it is going to, whenever you come to this page, it is going to run this use effect function. Okay, so when you refresh or when you come getting into the page, it is going to refresh the, it is going to get the data. That is where I'm going to pull out the local storage data and show to here. Okay, so now I'll just put console.log hello. When I save this file, whenever I come, I'm just going to get a hello. So whenever the refresh or whenever I navigate to this page, it is going to return the hello. This is how the use effect is basically works. I'm going to, I just give you a clear and more neat examples when you get into the course. Don't worry about that. So here, const stored to do's. Okay, I'm just going to name it called store to do's. Basically, initially I used to create this as a string. Remember, this is a JSON string. Okay, I want to convert that JSON string to a raw object. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put json.parse to parse that JSON stringify to normal thing. Okay, local storage dot get item is, the key is ls key we gave. Okay, so now I'll console.log and I'll put stored sto, right? So sto, when I say, whenever I come, I can get the array here. This is what we stored into the local storage. You see, remember, you see the value of the name sdf and sdf. So if you come back to the application, the same thing I have here. Now I successfully get the data here. Now this is an array. I can loop through the array and show to the front end. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, basically, how we can do that, if if there is a store to do, okay, it is going to be true. There is a store to do. There is store to do. I'm just going to update the set to do to store to do. That's all. Just one line of code. If you come back, I can see the data here. Okay, you see one thing is happening here. This is a performance issue. When you're using the use effect, basically this is going to make it as an infinity loop. You see, it is actually running, keep on running, maximizing the update depth executor. This can happen when a component called set state inside the use effect. We are calling the set state inside the set state. The name is different, but basically the mention is set state. When we calling, what happening, but the use effect either does not have the dependency array or one of the dependency changes every render. Basically, if you didn't give any dependency array, it is going to render each and every time continuously. This is going to make your app performance very bad. So to stop that, I'm just going to give a dependency of the empty array here. So now it is going to stop. I can clear this out. When I refresh, I can get the data here. It is not going to disappear from here, even though when you refresh, if you come back to the application, you can see the data. Even you can clear. If you clear here, it is clearing, but when I refresh, it is going to come back here because we are not clearing from this local storage. So how can I clear that from here? So come back to this to handle add. We completed the add. We have the to do clear, right? So here basically I'm just going to do the same thing like here. When the clear happens, I want to set local storage dot set item and ls key. Then I want to put json dot string for updated value. I want to pass the updated value here when the clear happens. Remember that I want to update the new to do. That's all. Okay, so when I save, come back, refresh, now here it is going to stay. But if I clear this one of this, now you see this is also clearing out here. You see the value is actually happening dynamic. When I add, it is adding. When I wait, we'll clear all these things. One Jagan. So sorry, these are to do, right? So W work, then sleep, then eat. Okay, so we have 3 to do: work, sleep, eat. Now I'm going to clear this sleep. When I clear, it is now also clearing from here and also from here. When I refresh, it is going to show the work and eat and also updating the count. Now this app functionality and everything is okay. Now this app is not look bit good, so I'm going to add a bootstrap here, okay, for to make some good looking. So it is very easy only. I'm just going to add some classes. Okay, that's all. So I'm just going to make sure to copy the CDN link and I'll put here. Remember, this is the CDN link. We can basically add that bootstrap classes into our React application to the quick start. I'm not going to use that npm modules and all. So that is a bit not a complicated. It takes a lot of time. So here I'll put the link in the head because I already told you head is going to take the information. I'm just going to use a third-party library using the bootstrap, and I'm going to connect that bootstrap into my app.js. Coming back to the div, the class name here, the div, I'm just going to give a container. Okay. So if you come back, now we see it is starting from here. The font size and everything is going to change now. So when I hover this, the container has some style, max width of 1140 pixel. So this is coming from the container.sas. It is coming from the bootstrap. Okay, now I'm not adding any my own styling. I'm just using the bootstrap. So here after this h3, I'm just going to give a class of text primary. Then everything is good. Okay, so here the input class I'm going to give form control. Then the button class, I'm just going to give a btn primary. I'm going to make this as a warning color. Okay, so when I save this, I can see now this is now a bit good, right? So we have the input and button and clear. So I'll add some margin here. The margin bottom is 4. Now we have some margin, and also I add some margin to here, margin bottom 4. Also have the margin, everything is fine. So for the container, I'll put some div of padding top of 5. So I need some space at the top. Then what? This is not good. So here we are not having any space. So I'm just going to make it as a flex. Don't worry about the styling and all. We're going to learn everything in the classes. Okay, so I cannot able to explain all these things in a single demo session. I'm very sorry. I'm just made it as a flex. The gap I'm going to give 3, and margin y axis I'm going to give it 3. So now everything is fine. Now I want to give this to here also. So now coming back to the to-do list here, the to-do list basically this one. Okay, not the to-do list, inside the to-do, right? So the type is checked, and the class name here, form, I think the form check input. So then I'm just going to make this also a D inline block, because I need to work with the margin inline block margin X. If the span is an inline block in HTML, you cannot able to use a margin, so that I'm making it as an inline block. So it basically work like a inline, but it should can access the margin. So that's the thing. So now everything is fine. The app looks cool. Okay. Now if I add something here, for example, sleep, add to do. Now it is adding. When I clear this out, it's clearing. When I clear all these things, now it is everything is fine. So this is the end of guys. So let me know how this app look like. Let me know how my teaching everything, because we don't need a time. That's what I make it very fast. I'm very sorry about that. But this is the basic structure of React. I almost cover everything. We have only the state and things and all. So there is a lot to learn in React, but that is not a good way to. I cannot able to show that more complicated thing into this examples using the demo session. I'm very sorry about that. But once you understand, once you join the course, you can access a freedom of to ask a lot of questions, everything. So here also I'm going to give you a lot of freedom to you ask me a question, but the guys are not asking me any questions seriously. So if you want to ask any questions, you can ask me now. We completed the project, and also I will give the code everything to you, and also you're going to get the recorded session. You can practice this one. So if you okay, please give me your suggestion how I did the classes, everything, please. If you want to talk, you can basically open your mic and can speak to me. So let me know how my teaching, and it is going to you are just going to give me a compliment. That's what I am asking to you, because I need to know that how I did, or that's why. So you guys understand, I know, like if you're a beginner, it is very hard to understand, I know that, but there is no option to learn React. This is the one way. But if your guys are not having good understanding, but because of the JavaScript, you're not good at JavaScript, don't worry. I'm going to cover all these advanced topic in JavaScript. Then only I'm just going to take you to the React. So that is one of the most important thing, JavaScript. Why I'm keep on talking about the JavaScript? Because the JavaScript is one of the most important thing. So if you should not understand JavaScript properly, then you cannot able to do anything with the React. So that's why I'm keep on asking you to learn JavaScript, learn JavaScript, learn JavaScript. Okay. So you also try out by yourself. I'll give the code and the recording video, everything. Just hit me in my WhatsApp that how my teaching would be. Okay. If you want to guys like, so now you see this is my Instagram. Okay, so not my Instagram, this is my this is where I post all my code for the UI and everything. I almost did good things, I hope. If you want to guys follow up this Instagram, you go and follow the Instagram. This is called JJN Academy, but this is not included with the IT. This is not basically gonna included with the IT expert training. This is different. So if you guys want to know, learn anything about the new concept, and also I'll post some basic like some challenges, JavaScript challenges, like this kinds of things. So if you want to guys learn anything more about JavaScript and things, and if you want to learn how the UI I basically did, I usually give everything as a free code. You
Sharing your screen, we cannot see anything.
cannot see anything. I already shared the screen. Now it is showing. Now?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, okay. So this is my page. Okay, this is not included with ITT expert training. This is my own page. I'm just here to tour. So if you want to guys follow me up any coding, or if you want to find any UI or the loader, whatever, like I put almost everything. So here I'll just give some challenges, and also I teach some challenges within 1 minute. So you can go and follow up this Instagram also. I usually post a lot of designs and also a lot of code. The code is, you can get the code in my code pen. So I'll give I already gave that link into this link tree. You can find my code pen, and also you can go and take all the free codes from here. You can use this to your project, and also you can learn a new concept here. Okay, so if you wanna guys follow up, just please follow me up. That is, I'm so appreciate you for that. So this is how what we made today. So do you guys understand that properly, that how my teaching would be? If you give me some words, that is gonna be more happy to me. That's why I'm asking you.
Brother, your teaching was really good. The flow was really maintained nicely.
Thank
One thing is like the time bound, the time dimension that we defined to do this demo is
Yeah,
not enough. You wanted
yeah,
to give, but because of the time limitation, that we could not, follow you fully, to be honest. In the sense,
yeah, yeah,
because beginners will not be able to digest immediately what you have revealed.
yeah,
And
yeah.
really, you will get the reward in this life and the hereafter for the noble effort.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Because I'm also having the same hesitation, because I know what the beginner is going to happen when I teach that, because this is more complicated. It is very simple app, but if they are a beginner, they're going to wrap their head around seriously if they don't
Yes,
know the JavaScript properly. That's what I'm keep on advising them to learn a JavaScript. So the
the
same mistake I did in my life. So every time when developers or some people say learn JavaScript, I didn't get why they are saying, because I'm learning React. But when you come and join, and when you work in a React, you completely know everything is JavaScript here. I didn't get into any new programming language here. Everything is a JavaScript, right? Because React is a framework of JavaScript. That's what we are using, everything as a JavaScript logic here. So people can understand this properly. They're only going to focus on JavaScript 100 percentage, then they can able to be a good React developer basically. So that's why I'm keep on trying to say, please learn JavaScript. Okay, so if you guys okay with my teaching, you can join my lives, like my course. It's kind of 2 months. The price is also so low, only like 2,000 only. If you go and ask some other institute outer side, they will teach you only the HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Bootstrap. They're not going to cover any advanced topic. This is true, I'm saying. You go and ask the fee structure, they surely say you for 43K. Minimum is 35K, but we are doing for 2K only. If you guys interested, if you have some time to learn some new things and new skills, I have I have a lot of confidence that I train a lot of people. They are now good in now companies and all. They got a job also. I have the confidence that I will teach good to you. But if you have the confidence in my teaching, you can join the course. This is going to be a good path to make as a React developer. And also you're going to learn a lot of things. Well, not only the React, you're going to learn a global state management, or also the Firebase to connect the backend services for the authentication, everything. So if you guys okay, you can hit me up on my WhatsApp group. So that is so helpful. That's all. That's my from my point. That's all. So if you
well,
want,
please share your number so that we can be in touch with you.
okay, 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 brother. Okay. I will share, bro, Abdul Rahman. I will share the recorded video. One, it takes some processing time to complete this record, and once I close this meeting, you will get the video after 30 or 15 minutes. I will share the video. Kindly share your WhatsApp. If you want my number, you can get my number in my WhatsApp group. That the number. My name is Jagan Javit. I gave it a name called Jagan Javit. Okay, so that is the thing. So guys, do you have any other doubts? So we have some more time, so if you want to ask any about the career, about coding, you can ask me that. Literally I will explain here. I wait for you. Don't, no problem for me. Else we can close the session. If you all okay, we can close the session. Else if you want, if you have any doubt, you can ask me that. I'm here to help you out.
ReactJS Masterclass, this group has only admin access. We could not share anything there. Can you please share your number in the group, please?
Brother, actually your voice is too low, brother, because it's kind of some disturbance
Can you
happening.
please can you please share your number in the ReactJS Masterclass WhatsApp group?
Yeah, actually, you joined from their React group, right? That WhatsApp group.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, in that group only they will the admin will post the joining link, so you can join through that form. Okay. They will put you some form to fill up, so you go and fill up the form and they will redirect to some other page to join this course. I think it takes 2 weeks or 1 week to start the course. I already started for the Tamil batch. Now it is going to be, this week is going to be English, so that's why we make a demo. So basically they told me to take React also included to this demo. They are asked me to include the Firebase here, but that is not a good idea. I know what is going to happen if I include the Firebase, right? Because we're going to work with the API. I don't know how many people know about the callback and asynchronous programming language. Seriously, if you are not guys getting into my course, please learn the asynchronous and promises and callbacks. And I'm just giving a suggestion to learn all these things, because that is the important concept of the JavaScript. Okay, so please learn. And also the words I told you, that execution context, lexical environment, there is a lot to learn. So we want to keep on learning and we want to keep on growing. So that is what my goal is. So I hope my teaching is good. I hope I made you happy through my this development, this app live session. I'm very happy for that to work with you guys. I'm so happy for that. So if you okay, you can yeah. Yes, brother. So okay, so they will post you link in the WhatsApp group, brother. Don't worry about that. Okay. So else you can find my number in that group. My name is Jagan Javed. You can ask me doubt anything. So you can pin me up on my WhatsApp. Okay. So shall we close the session? Hello. Just put the chat so that we can close the session. And also please give me the review in my WhatsApp, so that it would be helping to me that. Okay, so just send some feedback of your feedback in my WhatsApp, that group itself. Okay, so that they can know how my teaching would be. So that's why. So okay guys, thank you so much for joining this live session. And also I'm very happy to I spend some good time with you. And also I hope I gave you some good knowledge about that React.js and some basic stuff. So guys, I'm saying that React is one of the most demand skill right now in the market. So if you learn, you can going to get like good career, like everything. So learn this. And also in the future, if you have any idea to create a product, you can create by your own self, because you know already how to create a product using computer. That is one of the most powerful thing you're having in your hand, right? So just join with me and we can learn together and we'll do some awesome things with that. Okay. So okay guys, again thank you so much. Welcome. Take care. Bye bye. I'm going to end that session. Take care. See you.